Hello, everyone. It's Dr. B again, otherwise known as Dr. Madeline Boskowitz. I know most of you know me, but for those of you who need a refresher, I'm the author of I Want to Be Me, but I Don't Know Who I Am. It's a guidebook for teens and young adults. And I'm also the author of the workbook for this guidebook. And I've included preteens, teens, and young adults. And in a moment, I'm going to tell you why. So this is actually the beginning of chapter 3. Chapter 3 is a very long and kind of convoluted chapter, but we're going to make it through it. I guarantee you. I'm going to do my best to help you with it, and you will see that there is a lot to be learned in chapter 3. So chapter 2 in the guidebook was focused on the first 10 years of life and the development, learning very basic physical and verbal skills and starting school, learning how to behave in school. And also, I didn't do this in the guidebook, but it will be in the next edition. I began to talk about social learning, learning how to behave in school, in the classroom, even in the playground, but also social learning, how you are with your friends and how they are with you. It was just a glimpse because in those early years, we're really not that aware yet. So I always have this dilemma, this conflict about those 3 years between the age of 10 and the beginning of the teen years at 13. So these are very important years, and they're kind of challenging years. After 10, you're basically not really a child anymore. You are heading towards more self-awareness, self-consciousness, awareness of others. And you know that you're heading for adolescence, and that's a very puzzling time and also exciting. You see adolescents and teens around you, and they seem to be very different from you when you are 10 or 11. And indeed, they are very different from you. So I do want to really talk about this period because that transition, that changing between being just a child and getting ready for the teen years when you learn to be independent and responsible, hopefully in that order, but also in the other order, responsible and independent, being aware of yourself and your choices and how you manage your life and how you want to manage it. So those 3 years are very, very important. In the workbook, I've added work for the preteen years, even though I don't expect preteens to be reading this workbook or the guidebook because they're not teens yet. But so this is really for teens to look back on to see whether they've accomplished the task of those 3 years to get ready for adolescence, somewhere between leaving childhood behind and being totally dependent on parents or guardians that, they are the ones who constantly remind you to comb your hair, brush your teeth, get ready to be on time, get up, do your homework, to when you enter the teen years, that really needs to be kind of accomplished already. So in the workbook, the beginning of chapter 3 is the preteen. This starts on page 33, I believe, and it is new skills that lead to independence. And I start with the preteen years. So while I congratulate you on having entered the teen years, I then work on as you enter those teen years, it's now time to take charge of yourself. And in order to be able to do that, you need to have learned the skills that occur in the preteen years. So these are the skills that will lead you to more self-confidence as you enter the teenage years. And they're self-care skills, basically, that I start with. So what is self-care? How you take care of yourself, that sort of, what does that mean? Well, it means taking care of your personal hygiene. It means getting your homework done. And by taking care of it means taking care of, personal self-care, physical care, without being constantly reminded and pushed by your parents or guardians. It means getting your homework done by yourself, again, without being constantly pushed. Doing your household chores without reminders. Other home responsibilities, maybe taking care of pets or your sports equipment or whatever it is that you need to take care of, are also managing responsibilities at school. I will go into that in a little bit later. It also talks about a very important part of self-care, which I call emotional coping and choices, autonomy, meaning managing yourself. Now, again, we don't expect you to know all this by the time you're 13 or even by the end of the teen years or the young adult years. These are lifetime skills that we grow as we go through life, but we start them. It is important to start them in the preteen years, to be aware of the needs. And you will see I kind of go very slowly through these things. I have no expectation that you're going to be perfect, quote unquote, from one day to the next. And I finish with self-management, again, being in charge of your behavior and self-soothing when distressed. This is a very important part of the self-management, how to take care of ourselves. So in chapter 2 in the guidebook, I had talked about those elements of taking care of yourself and chaining them. I didn't give any examples then. Well, maybe I did. Actually, let me correct that. But they were very short. Here in this chapter, I actually illustrated with lists. So how do you chain things? You do them in a specific order so that they're easier to remember. This way you don't have to think about each one individually. You've got an order of things that you do. So just listing them, I wrote washing your face every day, taking a shower every 1 or 2 days, shampooing your hair thoroughly, brushing your teeth once or twice a day, combing your hair at least once a day, using deodorant if needed, washing your hands after using the bathroom. This is very important. You've been hearing it for a long time, but in these 3 years, it needs to become automatic, something you don't even think about. Washing your hands after eating or, well, before, wait a minute, wash your hands before eating or handling food. Again, this is very important part of personal hygiene, washing hands after eating or handling food. And I added changing underwear at least every other day, even if you need to wash it in the sink, which we've always done. Just wash it at night, and by morning it's dry. And I also added, really got to thinking about it because many teens don't have the luxury of taking a shower every 1 or 2 days. Maybe there is not even a working shower where they live, or maybe they're in a shelter and they don't have access to things except maybe once or twice a week. And so I realized that not all teens can do this. Maybe you don't shower, just wash at the kitchen sink or any other, or the bathroom sink. I did that for many years. We went to the public bath where I lived once a week when things were good, and when things weren't good, we didn't go. So maybe there's not enough food at home. You get breakfast and lunch at school. Good for you. Take advantage of it. I got the school lunch for all my elementary and high school years. Sometimes it was even good and I liked it. So you see, we were quite poor when I was growing up, but I got an education. It really helped. Stick it out and you can make a better life for yourself. The education, and I will talk more about this in this part of the book, it's your way out of poverty. It's your way to a future that you will like much better. So hopefully most of you are not poor and not facing those challenges, but you can hear that they're definitely challengeable and they're manageable. You can do what you can. And, in many countries, they don't have the luxuries that we have here, and they still manage to take good care of themselves. So this is very important. I want to share with you fairly quickly what I did to help you change your behaviors. And I'm going to share the screen here and hopefully find what I wanted to share with you. Where did it go? No, I don't find it. Here it is. No. Let me try it again. I'm going to come back and open it again. I had it. Oh, it's in this file here. Okay. Sorry, wrong file. So let me do this again. Share. And I'm going to open this. That's not working, is it? Let's try it again. See, share, it did not work. Did it work? Yes, here. Okay. So this is the beginning of chapter 3, and I had just shared some of that with you. And I talked about the personal hygiene, and I want to show you the list that I created. So this is just an example. I have 15 links to my chain, a chain. You have links. So I just, as an illustration, as an example, I wake up when my alarm goes off. I get up without hitting snooze too much. I get dressed, I eat breakfast, I brush my teeth, I wash my face, I unplug my school computer and put it in my backpack. I'm thinking here of my granddaughter. I make sure my homework is all in my backpack. I get a snack from the kitchen and put it in my backpack. I make sure I have my lunch or lunch money. I make my bed. Hopefully that gets done. But I might want to change it to earlier I make the bed right after I get dressed. In actuality, that is when I make my bed today as a mature woman. When I get dressed, I make the bed. And it's become just automatic. So I make sure the lights are out in my room. I say goodbye to whoever is around, and I walk out to the bus stop, get on the bus. So that sort of flows into one thing into the other. And except for I make my bed, I think I'm going to move that up in the next edition. One can always improve on things. So anyway, I give you all the blank space you want for your morning routine, and here it is. I also have a nighttime routine, which includes my hygiene, personal hygiene, just like in the morning. You can see I put my clothes in the hamper, I take a shower, dry off and get into PJs, brush my teeth, pick out a good book or a notepad to say goodnight to family and read or draw on my notepad. Maybe text some friends goodnight. So, and I also have made a table, which I cannot turn, but you can see it's a weekly personal hygiene calendar where you put the self-care here. And see, because in the previous list, you don't get to check it off when you're doing it. It's just to help you remember the order. Here you can list the order again, or any order you want. And then as you go through the week, you check off whether you've done the AM, PM, just check mark or a cross. Certainly, but this will remind you. And now this is also available in the tools on the website. Remember, the website is www.iwanttobeme.org, and you can get blank ones to help you when you need. And as you know, there is a code to get into these forms. And if you have already bought the books, You have the code. If you have bought the free introduction to the books, you have the code as well. So I hope that you're able to get this and to use as many as you need until you really learn how to do it. You're not going to be filling it out the rest of your life, but usually it takes 3-4 weeks, not the rest of your life, but just less than a month to get into good habits or bad habits. But anyway, so this is how I provided you with, and I think a little bit later in the book, I also talk about your chores, which is part of your personal hygiene in some ways, because it's cleaning your environment, your clothing, taking care of your clothing, washing them, putting them away, hanging them up, picking them up, putting them in the laundry, preparing them the night before or whenever you need them, and then this expands into your room, your space. If you are a lucky person, you have your own room, which is very unusual. I never had my own room when I was growing up, and it was okay. I didn't dream of having my own room. Many of you probably do not have your own room, and some of you may not even have your own space in a room. You may have to sleep in the living room or with, with many others in the same room. So, but you can still keep your own corner. And of course, it's much more challenging if that's the case. But anyway, picking up your room, it's like taking care of your body. It's your space. Make sure that it's in good shape. It's clean. It's picked up, and you learn. This is learning independence. One day, you may well live by yourself or with others, but you're going to have to take care of your living conditions. And so this is part of the growing up, learning to do that. Also helping with the rest of the household, washing dishes, setting and clearing the table, helping with food preparation, helping with pets, helping with brothers and sisters, maybe gardening chores if you are lucky enough to have a garden. Again, I did the list and I show you lists for daily chores example, weekend chores example. And sometimes I get a little funny on the weekend chores when you're home, and if you're living on a farm, I end up with, I milk the cows, I churn the butter for the week, I bale the hay, I round up the cattle, and I feed the pigs. Those were the good old days. I actually would enjoy most of that. But, there were times when actually a lot of children had to help out before even going to school. They got up at dawn and helped with the chickens and milking the cows and doing whatever they could, feeding the pigs, before they even packed up their lunch and went off to school. If you watch My Little House on the Prairie, I think it was called, that was the kind of life they led. And, it's not last week, but it's not terribly long ago either. It was, the house on the prairie was just 100 years ago, or 200, I'm not sure. Let's go more, 200. But still, people have a lot of chores to do. And here again, I offer you a page, which I'm not sure where it went. Oh, here it is. The weekly chores calendar. This also is available on the web, where you get the chore on the left. This didn't print correctly. That's weird. Anyway, so and then Monday, Tuesday, AM, PM, just to help make sure that you remember them and that you take care of them. So I think probably that's enough for today, but next lesson, I'm going to talk about managing homework and learning, which is very important, and a challenge. So this was good today. I want to share with you that I'll be going on vacation, and no, you don't get time off. I am very dutiful, and I will prepare 7 lessons ahead of time. Now, of course, it is your choice at what pace you go through the lessons. So you can choose when to take your time off. So, but for me, I felt it was important to keep having 2 lessons every week, even though kind of late this week because of the holiday over the weekend. I hope yours was good. Mine was fine, despite the cold and the rain. It was a lovely weekend. And I look, so anyway, you will notice that I'm wearing the same thing because I'm making the lessons one after the other. So yeah, you might think that I'm wearing the same thing every time, but I'm just making those lessons. So this is my little secret I'm sharing with you. So take care, and then I will be doing the next one very shortly. Bye-bye.